So when you have this feeling of change and there is nothing that can shake it is when the journey begins. Hello, welcome home. Today I decided to give you all a different background than the white background. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. That is where I'm going to sit and setting up my camera. Okay, I'm going to get comfortable. And there are a lot of people walking, so I'm obviously a little bit conscious, which is fine. But it looks so pretty. If only I could let me turn the camera around. You can see. Okay. Now let's get back to this. Okay, sun is coming out. I am mesmerized by this place right now. So pretty. So beautiful. The other day somebody said that instead of putting emotions and words to what you see out in nature, just observe. So that's also another thing that I'm trying to do, is just observe. But I can't help describe it. It's so beautiful. This is the proximity that I'm going to be at for this video, because the background wants to take over, which is, I'm absolutely fine with it, but we need to talk. We need to talk about self-transformation. Yeah, I'm going to get lost today a lot. Okay, let's begin. I don't have a lot of charge either. So the journey of self-transformation really begins with this feeling of change that you just cannot shake whatsoever. And the feeling turns into want. I want to change something. And as you sit with that want then turns into need. Like, I need to make this change. If I don't make this change, then life is going to stop, pretty much. And once you start exploring this feeling that now has turned into a need, then it begins. And initially you don't realize how to start, what to do, what is it even about, but it's just this innate feeling from your heart that you want to follow. And in my experience, what I've realized is that it begins with a very small change. So for me, it began with a slight change in my routine. As I've spoken about it before as well, it began with me making a small change in my morning routines, which was to incorporate walking. And as I started walking no longer was just an exercise that I was doing, but it became so much more spiritual. I started connecting with myself in a different level, because the questions that I was asking myself, I was thinking about it as I was walking too, and the answers that I was getting were bringing me closer to myself and my heart, my soul, my spirit, and it all blended into this desire to continue to explore that. And as I was exploring, of course, I've talked about the books that I have read, and my quest, my curiosity, my curiousness to find answers to my question led me to many means and medium of information. Books were one. I started watching a lot of TED Talks. I started watching specifically personal journey stories, and also a lot about psychology and philosophy, really getting into the topic of mindset and how our brain functions and works, and what we as human beings need to pay attention to. You know, when the desire to change something in your life, to transform your life comes to you, at that moment you really don't know what exactly needs to change, because you're still exploring, right? It's a very fresh feeling. So taking the time to explore this question of yours is going to take some time, but what you'll come to realize is the need for change is internal and specifically related to love. I quickly realized how disconnected I was with myself, and how I did not give myself love whatsoever. My thought process when it came to love was pretty much rooted in you love others, you give love to others. I am someone who is full of love in my heart for others, but when it came to myself, the concept really didn't, I didn't understand the concept. And I had heard about, loving yourself, believe in yourself, but I always questioned like what that meant. Again, my thought process was so rooted in this idea of love is only something to give and not to give to others and not to give yourself, that I couldn't figure out what it meant and how to do that. And once I realized how I was lacking of love for myself, that's when it started clicking. Like everything started clicking to me. I realized how my patterns of self-doubt, self-sabotage, the unkindness that I gave myself. You and I, as women in this world, are walking around with no self-love. We are always expected to take care of others, to love others, to always give. And anytime you decide to give the same love and kindness and compassion to yourself, then you're oftentimes labeled as selfish, self centered, and that moves us away from even exploring the idea of self love. Therefore, for a long time, I felt that my connection with myself was non-existent, because I just didn't know. I really didn't know what it meant to love myself. But once I figured that I was lacking in love for myself, it really changed so many things in my life, because I started connecting with myself. I started asking myself a whole lot other questions about my personal life, my relationships, how connected I was with everything around me. And again, that really propelled the whole process to continue to explore and discover. After 4.5 years of being in this journey, I can tell you that even when you go through this process for a while, it you will still go through moments of doubt and still non-existent of self-love. There are times when I struggle even today to love myself fully, because the preconceived notions are so deeply embedded in our subconscious that it is going to take time for us to let go of that. And good morning. And yeah, so once you start letting go of these preconceived notions, you start realizing how limited we are in our thoughts and in our ideas of life, and how we choose to live it. Choose, the word choose, yeah, choice becomes so much more prominent, and you start looking at it consciously, and as you start looking at your choices consciously, then you start making them consciously too. You realize how important they are in shaping up your life. You realize how important it is in every aspect of your life. You know, my connection with myself really changed when the idea of yeah, I'm losing my thought process at times, because again, I am also self-conscious of, you know, people walking around, but I'm trying to let go of that. So it's okay, maybe I should do this more often, to come to the park and talk and have a conversation. As I have mentioned before too, like this, once the process, like once you become aware of this need of change in your life, once you become aware of this feeling within you, there is no going back. Like, even if you want to just, you know, do things the way you wanted to do, it does not happen anymore. And you just continue, you want to continue to explore and look within and continue to scrape this feeling that you realize has been suppressed for a very long time. This awakening just does not stop, meaning your need for exploration of yourself and your need to connect with yourself just amplifies every single day, while also having to live with, you know, the external and the way of life and what you're used to, while so that becomes so confusing and frustrating at times. Yeah, there's just so much that you understand at a different level, and at the same time you don't understand. So the exploration is oftentimes confusing, because you start to realize, you connect with your mind, you connect with your heart, you connect with your body so much that it is just simply a life-changing experience. Good morning. Enjoying your walk?
Oh yeah, you always have.
I know. Have a good walk.
You too.
Thank you. This process changes you in terms of how you look at everything. You start looking at your relationship differently. You want to deepen your relationships. You want to really deepen your connections. When you find that, you know, the connections that you have in your life are not deep enough, you want to take moments, and you want to take every opportunity to figure out how can you deepen your connections. You start questioning everything that happens in your life, everything that happens around. You start questioning it, and your mindset, your perspective also changes at the same time, because you start seeing things in a different light. You start looking at things for what it is. You realize that if you want to make changes, you would. You know, everything in your life is totally up to you. There is nobody else who can make you do something. So the realization of change, the realization of transformation, it can come to you, but if you don't take any action in exploring that feeling, then you wouldn't transform, or you wouldn't change. Rather, it will push you to a point of, you will consistently will be thinking about it for sure. Growing up, I had a lot of questions in my life, and I'm sure, you know, we all do, and oftentimes we are left with no answers. The reason for that is because the generation before us also had to grow up like that. They had a lot of questions which were left unanswered. And none of us have come to this world with a pre-written book of how to live life, right? So we're all figuring out and going and doing and learning from our experiences. And we always gave into the idea of, oh, this is how it's supposed to be done because that's what I've been told, or that's just how everybody else is doing. So when the need for transformation, when the need for change, when you realize self-love, this you can no longer continue to function in this belief. Your heart, your soul, your spirit, everything will come together to push you towards thinking differently, to build your own mindset, to build a path for yourself. So as you start thinking about it more in regards to what your path should be, you start laying the bricks with your own thought process, with your own desires, with your own needs, with your own wants. We as you're growing up, I feel like we tend to, I hope we don't do this with the next generation, but we're always told of what to do and how to live and what is the measure of success, and everything is made up. You realize everything is made up. We're all figuring out as we go. We are given this idea of life and how to live it based on somebody else's experience, and we think, oh, okay, that's how it needs to be done. So you try to walk on that path. And as you try to walk on that path, you realize this does not align with me at all. And once you start loving it, once you see the love for yourself, you realize how unaligned you are with your own soul. The need to find that alignment amplifies. Like every cell of your body is going to tell you that the path you're walking on, this is not something that I am connected with. Let's figure something else out. And there is this consistent calling that just needs to be explored. It needs to become life. That's how it turned out for me. I just realized I wanted to change everything. My whole existence up until COVID is when my journey started. I was no longer okay to continue to function in the way I was functioning, because this feeling in me consistently told me that, Raisha, you need to change. You need this. And I had to. It's almost like I didn't have, my choice was only to listen to it. I didn't have any other choice. I didn't want to make any other choice. And I just want to tell you that it's confusing at times. It's difficult. You will find frustrations along the way, because you will find yourself going back to doing the things that you were doing. I find myself doing that a lot, even after a few years of being in this journey. I do find it difficult at times loving myself and loving myself fully. But I realize that this is a process. It is going to take time. I am learning. You are learning. So give yourself grace, give yourself the compassion to learn. Learning is a process. It is going to take time. We are going to get better at this with practice. Loving yourself is going to require a lot of energy and effort and time. And understanding that will make this process so much more easier. Good morning. I think we as a generation are, one of the most literate and educated generations today. And and we have to explore the scientific aspect of spirituality and figure out a way to incorporate it in our lives. We can no longer listen to things and just believe them. I am not telling you to believe me or trust in whatever I'm saying. I want you to experience it. I want you to go through on your own. I want you to realize and I want you to realize and implement self-love in your life and see what it does to you, how it changes your life, and how it changes the way you look at life, how it changes the way you look at everything. Like, everything will shift, and that can only come through experience. So go through it. If anything, if you would really listen to me and take my advice, the unsolicited advice that I'm giving, find that path to your inner core. Really see how limited you have made yourself, because specifically for women out there, we've been told for so long that our worth only lies when you that our worth only lies when you are doing for others. And do for others, absolutely do for others. I think there is no better way of you will feel so good when you're doing for others, for sure. However, once you take this path towards yourself, the amplification that will happen for doing for others without any expectations, no conditions, no results, like you will not want any results. I think that is what becomes your entire energy is going to flow in such a way, because you're so connected with your heart. And once you're connected with your heart, you're connected with the universe, you're connected with the creation. Like, everything, every little thing in this planet is a part of creation. We are part of creation, and the connection needs to be amplified. I'm so grateful to be here, to have this experience. Even in my worst days, and I'm not saying, oh, it's all going to be so perfect and nice, and it's like, oh, connection, universe. You still have to go through life. Life will still throw you curves. There are going to be times where you wouldn't realize what's happening, but you come to this place of acceptance. I have come to this place of acceptance, because as you are going through this transition and this transformation, you're going to make a lot of decisions, you're going to make a lot of choices. I made a lot of decisions, I made a lot of choices. There are a lot of choices and decisions that I know were probably not good at that time, but because now I have made them and now I have gone past it, the only thing that I can do is accept it. And this is the change that will start coming into your life. You start looking at things for what they are. You no longer want to give your energy to things that don't require your energy. You will stop giving energy to people, places, things. Everything around you starts becoming more and more. You start looking at bigger pictures. You will start looking at things from a different lens. You will start your perspective will shift. So realize and find this unconditional love for yourself, please. I cannot emphasize this more. Look within. Your spirit is calling. Shift your focus. Shift your focus. Flow inwards. My phone is dying. I'm going to quickly charge my phone and see if I have anything else to add, and we'll go from there. I charged my phone, but unfortunately the weather has changed and it's super windy. I tried sitting in different areas to record, the rest of the video, but looks like we have to keep it for next time. So there's going to be a part 2 of self-transformation, self-love, and
what it all entails. This video is already long, so I will not take a whole lot of time from you on this one. So until next time, remember, be kind to yourself, love yourself, be compassionate to yourself, and continue to rule your life like the Maharani that you are. Take care, everyone. Bye.